On the news, Nigeria's COVID-19 toll tops 3,000 as more health workers and public office holders get infected. Federal government extends suspension of flight operations by 4 weeks. And UK set to unveil strategy to ease 7 weeks lockdown. Many thanks for joining us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annetta Felix. Nigeria's COVID-19 toll is now above 3,000 and rising. Alongside it is the number of infected healthcare workers in the country. Latest data from the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, NANNM, says 18 nurses have contracted the virus in Kano State alone. Also, the Nigeria Society of Physiotherapy, NSP, says 5 of its members have tested positive for the infection in Bauchi, Kano, Lagos, Jigawa and Akwa Ibom states. Last week, the Health Minister Osage Ehanire announced that about 130 private and public healthcare workers have been infected with COVID-19 on the line of duty. As at Wednesday night, Nigeria had 3,145 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 103 fatalities reported across 34 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. The good news, however, is that 534 recovered from the illness and have been discharged. The number of infected public office holders in Nigeria is also on the rise. Lawmaker representing Unguru's central constituency at the Yobe House of Assembly, Lawan Unguru, is the latest public figure to be infected with the novel coronavirus. Unguru, who is the only PDP member at the Assembly late Wednesday, announced that he has tested positive for the virus and is now in isolation. Also, former Commissioner of Works and Infrastructure in Kano State, Mauzu Magaji, has tested positive for COVID-19. Magaji drew public attention when he was sacked in April by Governor Abdullahi Ganduje over comments he made when reacting to the death of late Chief of Staff Abba Kyari. In a post on his Facebook page on Thursday, the former commissioner said he has been moved to an isolation center in the state after his test came out positive. So far, 3 state governors and a few state lawmakers have been infected by COVID-19 in Nigeria. The Ministry of Health in Lebanon says 25 persons aboard a flight that arrived in the country from Kano on Wednesday have tested positive for COVID-19. The infected persons are among an unconfirmed number of Lebanon nationals who were repatriated from Kano to Beirut on May 5th. They were aboard an aircraft with flight number ME570. A statement issued on Wednesday by the Lebanon Ministry of Health said the affected passengers will be taken to hospital for treatment, while others who tested negative will be quarantined. Lebanon's COVID-19 toll as at 12 noon today stood at 784, of which 25 deaths have occurred. Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed has defended his position on the use of chloroquine and Dithromax to treat coronavirus patients in the state. Mohammed, who recovered from COVID-19 in April, came under fire from the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control for asking health officials in the state to treat COVID-19 patients with chloroquine and Zithromax. Addressing journalists on Wednesday, the governor clarified that he made the recommendations based on because the drugs helped him recover from the illness. He said, quote, "I have no apology for saying I used chloroquine, Zithromax, zinc, and vitamin C to get cured, but Allah cured me," end of quote. Bauchi State, as at Wednesday night, had 83 confirmed COVID-19 cases. And to the southwest, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde says one of 2 COVID-19 patients who absconded before being admitted to the state isolation facility has been found. The governor had on Wednesday announced that 2 COVID-19 patients had absconded and were of risk to society. However, in a statement issued on Wednesday night, Makinde said while one of the patients has been found, the other, who is a 10-year-old male, is still at large. He said Sokoto State has been alerted to be on the lookout for the missing patient, as witnesses claim the boy left the state on a bus heading to the north. Oyo has so far recorded 53 COVID-19 cases. Still in the southwest, the Lagos State Police Command says it has arrested 121 persons for violating the curfew time imposed by the government aimed at containing the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. Also, 58 persons were arrested for not wearing face masks, while 79 vehicles were impounded during the curfew hours. Spokesman for the command, Elkanah Bala, who made the disclosure in a statement, said the arrested suspects, alongside 148 others arrested over the weekend for violating the lockdown order, have been charged to court. In easing the 5 weeks COVID-19 lockdown order, the federal government directed Lagos residents to always wear a face mask in public and maintain social distancing. An 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew was also imposed on the state as part of measures to stop the spread of COVID-19. The federal government has begun efforts to cushion the effects of COVID-19 pandemic on the broadcast industry. At a meeting with stakeholders and executives of the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON, Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed announced that a 2-month license fee waiver has been approved for terrestrial broadcast stations. Meanwhile, the BON has asked the government to issue a special broadcast sector stimulus to enable broadcast stations access long-term facilities at a single digit.
Federal government through the CBN should institute a special broadcast sector stimulus intervention fund to enable broadcasters to accept long-term facilities in single digits. As you know, the CBN has set up other funds for other sectors. We believe that because the broadcast sector also requires funding.
The submission of the bond this morning is not only comprehensive but very well articulated. And it's the level of readiness of the ministry also that even long before now we had thought of not just the broadcast industry but the entire creative industry.
The suspension of local and international flight operations in the country has been extended by another 4 weeks as part of measures to contain the spread of the novel coronavirus in the country. Chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, announced this during the PTF briefing on Wednesday in Abuja. Mustafa says President Muhammadu Buhari approved the extension following recommendations from stakeholders in the aviation sector. Flight operations have been on hold for the past 1 month as part of measures to flatten the curve of the COVID-19 pandemic. The latest extension means that it will remain that way till June 2020. The World Health Organization has charged world leaders to invest more in their healthcare system. President of the health body gave the charge during a video conference in Geneva. He said if more world leaders had invested in their healthcare system before the outbreak of COVID-19, the world would have had better chances of defeating the virus. To prevent a repeat of such situations in the future, the WHO leaders stressed that this is the best time to invest in the health sector.
The world spends around US 7.5 trillion on health each year, almost 10% of global GDP. But the best investments are in promoting health and preventing disease at the primary healthcare level, which will save lives and save money. Prevention is not only better than cure, it's cheaper and the smartest thing to do. The COVID-19 pandemic will eventually recede, but there can be no going back to business as usual. We cannot continue to rush to fund panic, but let preparedness go by the wayside. As we work on responding to this pandemic, we must also work harder to prepare for the next one. Now is an opportunity to lay the foundations for resilient health systems around the world, which has been ignored for long. That includes systems to prepare, prevent, and respond to emerging pathogens. If we learn anything from COVID-19, it must be that investing in health now will save lives later. History will judge all of us, not only on whether we got through this pandemic, but also on the lessons we learned and the actions we took once it was over.
UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson will on Sunday present to the people the government's plans to ease the COVID-19 lockdown in the UK. Johnson announced this on Wednesday during his first appearance in Parliament after undergoing treatment for COVID-19. The UK has been on lockdown since March 23rd after the government observed a significant rise in the number of COVID-19 cases. At present, UK citizens are only allowed to leave their homes to shop for essentials, go for medical appointments or to exercise once a day. It is currently the worst hit country in Europe, and second in the world, with over 32,000 COVID-19 fatalities. Juventus star Paulo Dybala has finally recovered from COVID-19 after 6 weeks of treatment. In a tweet, the player announced that he is healed and thanked those who supported him through the journey. Meanwhile, Serie A rivals Torino has confirmed that one of their players had tested positive for the infection. Torino revealed that the player was diagnosed with COVID-19 during testing of players and staff. We'll return with more news shortly. Do stay with us.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
James, I don't know. You need to answer your call. Try. This. Hello?
Is this Mr. Peter? I'm calling from the NCDC. Your friend, Mr. James Okrikwocha, was brought in this morning and tested positive for the coronavirus. He mentioned that he had been in close contact with you.
God forbid bad thing.
Sir, I am not saying that you have the virus, but you have spent some time with him over the past 14 days and it is better if you self-isolate immediately.
I don't know any James at all. Even only James in the Bible that I know as a good Christian.
Sir, he showed us pictures.
Now, wow. If you have come in contact with someone who has tested positive for the coronavirus, self-isolating is key to protecting those around you. Remember, viruses don't move, people do. Stopping the spread is in your hands.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Suspected Boko Haram insurgents have attacked the Biro community in Biu Local Government Council of Borno State. The assailants reportedly stormed the community on Wednesday in 5 Toyota Hiluxes. The local vigilante tried to fight back but were overpowered by the terrorists. Eyewitnesses say the community primary school and other public buildings were set ablaze by insurgents. It's also not yet clear if there were any casualties. Troops of the Nigerian military have killed 343 Boko Haram terrorists, including top leaders of Boko Haram and ISWAP during air offences on their hideouts in the northeast. Coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, said this while presenting a first quarter scorecard of military operations on insurgency, banditry and illegal refining across the country. Enenche said the operations were conducted between March 18th and May 5th, 2020. He praised the efforts of the army for degrading the activities of criminals and averting economic sabotage in the nation's exclusive economic zone.
The armed forces of Nigeria from 18th of March to 5th of May 2020 neutralized 343 Boko Haram BHT/ISWAP criminals in the northeast, deleted 153 bandits in the northwest and north central parts of the country, among other successes. Human and technical intelligence confirmed that between January and March 2020, 18 BHT and ISWAP leaders were killed due to our ground and air offenses against their settlements and hideouts. 4,464.8 and 1,781,000 liters of crude oil were recovered. Also, we are 1,766,900 liters of AGO and 116,000 liters of DPK, that is kerosene, and 11,750 liters of PMS petrol were also recovered.
President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed Suleiman Abba, a former Inspector General of Police, as chairman of the Police Trust Fund Board. Presidential spokesman Garba Shehu said the appointment shows Buhari's commitment to retooling the architecture of policing in Nigeria. Shehu added that Buhari aims to build a well-funded, equipped and highly professional Nigeria police force in line with international best practices. Other members of the board include Mohammed Adamu, Inspector General of Police, Usman Bilikisu, representative of the Justice Ministry, and Ben Akabweze, representing the Finance, Budget and National Planning Ministry, among others. The Minister of Police Affairs, Mohammed Dingyadi, would announce a date the board would be inaugurated. President Muhammadu Buhari has reconstituted the board of directors of the Nigeria Bulk Electricity Trading Company PLC, NBET. The Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning announced this in a statement on Thursday. Chairman of the board is Zainab Ahmed, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, while the non-executive director is the Director General of the Bureau of Public Enterprises, Alex Oko. All appointments take immediate effect. NBET is a public limited liability firm owned 100% by the federal government. It is charged with the responsibility of managing the electricity pool in the Nigeria electricity supply industry. The Nigeria Export-Import Bank, NEXIM, has appointed Kingsley Obiora, Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, as its board chairman. NEXIM's head of strategy and corporate communications, Tayo Midiji, said Obiora would replace Joseph Nana, former CBN deputy governor, who retired from the board in February. In a statement on Wednesday, Midiji said Obiora will provide leadership to NEXIM's board towards achieving the bank's mandate of promoting economic diversification and development of the Nigerian non-oil export sector. Obiora assumed office as deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria in March, following his appointment by President Muhammadu Buhari. He is a graduate of economics from the University of Benin, Nigeria, and also holds a master's and doctorate degree in economics from the University of Ibadan. We'll take a break now and return shortly. Do stay with us.
Shegun. Alpha, say tomorrow still day on.
What's your tomorrow?
Community meeting now.
You know they here, Abi?
Now beggy. See, if we meet for my house, inside parlor, then go no.
This COVID-19 is not a child's play.
If we want to elect a new secretary, we fit to
do one for WhatsApp, or for Skype, or even on Zoom. Or we just wait.
I will not negotiate
this social distancing. It is non-negotiable.
Not every infected person shows symptoms, but every infected person is contagious. Avoid large gatherings and self-isolate if you think you might have come in contact with a carrier. Your safety and the safety of others is in your hands.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
You're welcome back. Here's Onyi Adekunle with business stories.
Thank you, Aneta. The Petroleum Products Marketing Company, PPMC, has slashed the ex-depot price of premium motor spirit, PMS, also known as petrol, to 108 naira per litre for the month of May. The ex-depot price is the price at which the depot owners sell the commodity to retail outlets across the country. In a memo to oil marketers and other stakeholders in the petroleum marketing business dated May 5th, 2020, the PPMC also slashed the ex-depot price of automotive gas oil, also known as diesel, to 164 naira per litre for depots in Lagos and 166 naira per litre for depots in Ogara, Calabar, Port Harcourt, among others. The PPMC says the new prices will take effect from May 5th. We'll take a short break here and return with Stock Market Review. Investors on the NSE are smiling to the bank today after making gains to the tune of 150 billion naira, which pushed key market indicators up by 0.87%. Nestle pulled the most weight today after moving from its previous share price of 975 naira to close at 1,000 naira per share. Dangote Cement also rose significantly, closing the day at 150 naira per share. Nigeria breweries also continue to pull heavy weight on the NSE today. Again, just like previous session, we see it moving from 33 naira to 34 naira and 90 kobo today. And of course, corn oil completed the list of top gainers. Conversely, Guinness Nigeria shared some of its gains today, while equities in the financial services sector like Zenith Bank and Guarantee Trust Bank made losses today. They took nosedive, of course. Guarantee Trust Bank closing at 22 naira and 50 kobo. But we understand from how the market fared today, bargain hunters are still having a field day, as can be seen on the market summary. Over 430 million units of shares traded, with the value increasing from 4.1 billion naira to 5.2 billion naira today. Moving on now to international markets, it's all bullish, and we see that FTSE is in the positive territory as investors bet on a relatively speedy economic recovery from coronavirus, even as hopes rise for an end of coronavirus lockdown in the United Kingdom. Nikkei also resumed after a break from the Constitution holiday on a positive note today, closing 0.28% higher. And that's it from business. It's back to you now, Aneta.
And it's not fantastic news on the international scene. At least 13 people have died and 100 others, or about 100 others, hospitalized as a result of gas leak at a chemical plant in southern India on Wednesday. A local police officer said the gas leaked out of two 5,000-ton tanks that had been left idle by LG Polymer's plant. The State Industries Minister, Gautam Reddy, urged the company to proactively respond to the incident and ensure that the same level of responsibility is taken if the incident were to happen in the EU or the United States. India's Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, has called an emergency disaster meeting, while LG says they're investigating the cause of the incident. Football is coming back on May 16th. On Wednesday, Chancellor Angela Merkel and the premiers of Germany's 16 states had announced that they had given the green lights for Bundesliga and Bundesliga 2 to restart in mid-May. A day later, following a video conference of the Germany Football League, CEO Christian Seifert announced a reversed match plan. The World Derby between Borussia Dortmund and Schalke will be among the first set of fixtures on May 16th. The Bundesliga hopes to complete its season on the weekend of June 27th and 28th and will soon make a decision on whether to allow 5 substitutions rather than 3. And that's it on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. Thank you for watching.